Russian MP, participant of aggression against Ukraine, Alexander Borodai, made a frank confession about the so-called SVO. He openly stated that the RF is waging a war of conquest and is not going to stop. Borodai shared all his revelations with the Russian propaganda resource Tsargrad. Borodai admitted that the new round of aggression against Ukraine had failed. According to him, the Kremlin had planned a completely different outcome of the SVO. However, in 2022, the Russian Federation faced fierce resistance from Ukraine and its Western allies. Expectations are a little out of line with reality. We expected that we would defeat the enemy quickly, easily, effortlessly. In weeks, in the worst case, in months, and even then we thought that it was a very long time, that the territories in our hands would be completely different, not the same as now. Of course, it is difficult for us to imagine leaving the hostilities without Kherson, Odessa, Nikolaev. Of course, we were going to quickly defeat the armed forces of Ukraine. But as a result, we had to fight the United West. They held out. Yes, over the past 3.5 years. SVO has achieved some improvements in the situation at a fairly high price. The main achievement of SVO is that Russian society has shaken up and cleaned itself up, Borodai said. Thus, the Russian MP also objected to what Putin said. Borodai admitted that 2014 was the first round of Russian aggression and not the Donbas uprising. Moreover, according to the Russian deputy, the Russian Federation intends to attack Ukraine again as soon as it regains its strength. The ceasefire will end very quickly. I believe that such agreements can last from 6 months to several years. If this war ends in the near future, another one will almost inevitably follow. This is quite obvious. Where is there to hide? The first war was in 2014 to 2015, then a break. Now another big war. This is another round, Borodai said. Earlier, Borodai called Russian soldiers superfluous people and expendable material. According to the criminal politician, representatives of the lower classes who do not earn more than 20 to 40,000 rubles in civilian life are sent to the front. But in war, they have the opportunity to earn 220 to 250,000, and they are bought like meat. Denis Kazansky, commenting on the speech of the accomplice of the occupiers, recalled that Alexander Borodai is not only one of the founders of the DPR, but also formed the Union of Donbas Volunteers, which now mainly consists of the 7th Separate Guards Motorized Rifle Chistyakovskaya Brigade. Borodai, on paper, is the commander of the said brigade. Kazansky emphasized that while humiliating and demoralizing Russian soldiers, Alexander Borodai is an army officer and a State Duma deputy.
President Donald Trump announced on Tuesday concepts for a Golden Dome missile defense program that he said would cost $175 billion to complete over the course of 3 years. The concept is inspired by Israel's Iron Dome. According to Associated Press, Trump, seated with a poster next to him showing the continental U.S. painted gold and with artistic depictions of missile interceptions, said, "This is very important for the success and even survival for our country." He said the system will be entirely made in the U.S. Trump also announced that General Michael Getline, who currently serves as the Vice Chief of Space Operations, will be responsible for overseeing Golden Dome's progress. The president was asked whether military commanders asked for the Golden Dome system, and Trump replied, "I suggested it, and they all said, 'We love the idea, sir.'"
Thank you very much, and thank you for being here in the Oval Office, one of the great places of the world. In the campaign, I promised the American people that I would build a cutting-edge missile defense shield to protect our homeland from the threat of foreign missile attack. And that's what we're doing. Today, I'm pleased to announce that we have officially selected an architecture for this state-of-the-art system that will deploy next-generation technologies across the land, sea, and space, including space-based sensors and interceptors. And Canada has called us and they want to be a part of it. So we'll be talking to them. They want to have protection also. So as usual, we help Canada do the best we can. This design for the Golden Dome will integrate with our existing defense capabilities and should be fully operational before the end of my term. So we'll have it done in about 3 years. Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles even if they are launched from other sides of the world and even if they are launched from space. And we will have the best system ever built. As you know, we helped Israel with theirs, and it was very successful, and now we have technology that's even far advanced from that. But including hypersonic missiles, ballistic missiles, and advanced cruise missiles, all of them will be knocked out of the air. We will truly be completing the job that President Reagan started 40 years ago, forever ending the missile threat to the American homeland, and the success rate is very close to 100%, which is incredible when you think of it, you shooting bullets out of the air. I'm very honored to have been the one that helped to have really created Space Force. Space Force has turned out to be a tremendous success. We were third in space, and now we're #1 in space by a lot.
Ultimately, this right here, the Golden Dome for America, is game changer. It's a generational investment in the security of America and Americans. Mr. President, you said we're going to secure our southern border and get 100% operational control after the previous administration allowed an invasion of people into our country. President Reagan 40 years ago cast the vision for it. The technology wasn't there. Now it is, and you're following through to say we will protect the homeland from cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, drones, whether they're conventional or nuclear.
Because this is very important for the success and even survival of our country. It's a pretty evil world out there, so this is something that goes a long way toward the survival of this great country. And as I said, we'll be discussing Canada. They want to hook in and they want to see if they can be a part of it. That sort of makes sense. I guess that's what I was talking about from day one. You know, it just automatically makes sense, and it won't be very difficult to do, but they'll pay their fair share. And as I said, we'll be discussing Canada. They want to hook in and they want to see if they can be a part of it. That sort of makes sense.
So what does this get the United States?
Somebody said the
isn't
current
already
system is
in
adequate.
before?
There really is no current system. We have certain areas of missiles and certain missile defense, but there's no system. We just have some very capable weapons that hopefully we never have to use, but we have some very capable weapons. Now, this is a different league. There's never been anything like this. This is something that's going to be very protective. I think you can rest assured there'll be nothing like this. Nobody else is capable of building it either.
Was
yeah,
it something
please,
that military commanders asked you for? Did they ask you to do this?
Well, let me put it differently. I suggested it, and they all said, "We love the idea, sir."